Okay, we are live. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Omakase Show webinar series. My name is Wowa Orowana Yara, and I'm hosting this series. And today I have a lot of announcements. So, first one is that go to my profile on X or Twitter, whatever, and you can find a possibility for artists to join our Lisbon Open Call. You can submit NFTs or Bitcoin ordinals just by following this type form. Just to give you an understanding, it takes around like, I don't know, 10 minutes max to join. And please do it before Friday, otherwise you will be late. Another part of it, this one, I'm so anxious to share it, but it's will be like the first time I will be curating a drop myself as a curator. And I'm looking for creative coders and generative artists. So if that's you, please do DM me. And basically you can do it on X as well as IG. How to do it? You can find all my social media accounts on my website, which is the Yara Agency. Okay, another part of it is that you can always support the Omakase Show. Also go to our profile on X, which is the Omakase Show, and you can see this cash button. By clicking it, you will see our ATH wallet address. And yeah, all donations are super, super helpful. And thank you so much. Okay, good. I'm done with this part. I have Akane here. Akane is an incredible artist, and just to give an understanding how we met, I organized my first ever digital art exhibition in London, and Akane was there. And my main idea as a host was kind of to create this environment when you are not anxious and where you feel like socially comfortable to chat. And Akane was the person who met, I guess, all the people that were there, extremely social. She was also the person to stay late when we closed down the venue, and she was there just chatting with us. And then I found out that she's also an incredibly talented artist from Japan, but lives in London. And today we will be exploring kind of your artistic journey, how you got into this space, what projects are you working on right now? Because there are a lot of them, and most of them are focused on this intersection of AI and technology and art, and also the cultural heritage, which is obviously extremely unique in your case. So yeah, hey, and thank you so much for joining me today. And can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Hi everyone. My name is Akane, and thanks Elena for such a nice introduction about about me. And then I think she's explained everything about me. So, but I still talk about me a little bit more. So yes, as she said, I'm from Japan, but based in London, and with a background in motion graphics. So originally, I used to work for a video games company, creating video games trailers and then but from there after that I became a freelancer, creating 2D 3D animations. But then back in 2022, I don't know if you remember, but this AI art won a prize in America, which sparked lots of debates.
Exactly. Yeah.
As you remember. So, and when I saw it, I thought, well, instead of resisting it, I thought I should learn it. Um, um, because once technology is developed, usually it's not going to go away. So therefore, I thought I start learning it, and I started experimenting with tools like Mid Journey, but later on, like with Runaway, Luma, Pika, or Leonardo. So many things came out after that. So, and that's how my journey into AI art began.
That's incredible, actually, because, well, I started using AI as a part of my personal and career decisions maker also around this time, like 2 years ago or so. And I was coming from the place where I'm not a native speaker who had to write a lot of social media articles and things like that for work. And obviously, I struggled a lot with grammar and vocabulary. And I feel like AI is a thing that helped me a lot, in a sense that it was a tool that kind of empowered me to do better, but also to kind of to learn in a really easygoing way, because I was exchanging the ideas in a chatbot. And
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing for me as well. As Japanese person, I quite often say, "Oh, I have an idea, but I was not quite sure how to put it together." And then ChatGPT helped me a lot as well. Just like you said, yeah.
that is so true, because I do remember that as a part of like my first ever like working year in this industry, we had a native American speaker, and she was helping me with all the grammar stuff. And I knew that it took a lot of her time and both mine to get this feedback back from her. And I believe that AI just simplified my life like X2. And in general, that's where I want to go right now, because I know that you mostly work with dynamic images. It's either videos or, I don't know, just it's not static. And I know that the production of video production is like really costly. And I know that AI also empowers people in this side of things. So can you tell us a little bit about your creative process and in general how AI empowered your artwork creations? And I will also share my screen just to give an idea to the listeners on what you're working on.
Yeah. So, oh yeah. So as I mentioned before, sorry about that noise. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, that originally I was creating motion graphics in 2D and 3D software. But then when AI came, I started experimenting, creating videos using AI. But I was not particularly interested in making like realistic looking pretty pictures. Rather than I wanted to create something bit weird, bizarre kind of thing. So that's why you are playing that one of those AI videos I created last year, which is based on something called Buto. Buto is this art form, performing art form, which was developed back in 1960s in Japan. So after the war, some people got together and started doing this performing art. Which is probably a little bit weird one. And I wanted to portray that sense into my AI video as well. That's why it looks a bit you don't know what's happening there, kind of thing.
What is the name? Is it Kabuki, like the theater, or something else?
Sorry, it's called Buto. It's Butoh. Buto.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
can't
yeah.
remember if there's an
I
H in
see.
there or not.
I see. It's like, wow. Okay, this is exactly. I will just share.
Yeah, that's right.
That's so impressive. I think it's like a part of Kabuki theater, if I'm correct, or.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So, yeah. For example, that's because you are looking at this Buto thing. That's why you thought that's a kabuki thing. Well, it started off with this some gay people who are kind of not outcast, but who are not in the main street back then, because this was like happened back in 1960s, where they were still marginalized kind of people. So they wanted to have their voice back then, and then well, that was the original bit, but later on it was kind of combined with some people combined it with like a ballet kind of theme to it, or anyway, lots of different offsprings came out of it. So that's why some of them look different from others. But I think the reason why you thought that looked like kabuki is like, yeah, you're right, because they put this white paste over their face to make their the face look white and the body as well. That's why you thought that, that was like some kabuki thing going on. Maybe I think, yeah, you're right. It's a good point.
That's
Good
super
point.
interesting.
Yeah.
And I feel like everything that is kind of rethinking Japanese culture in a modern context is super powerful. So maybe perhaps let's also focus on which points of the Japanese heritage that you are trying to rethink through your art.
Yeah, I think if that's the case, maybe something called the Kintsugi series I created last year, because I was feeling this emotional up and downs, things going through last year. So I created a series called the Kintsugi, and the Kintsugi is basically this techniques developed around the 15th century, where broken teacups were mended with gold seals. So instead of hiding the broken seams, they actually accentuated by using gold seams, meaning that the 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 cracks could be beautiful, or you can make something more. How can I say it? And instead of hiding your faults, you actually by bringing up uh, to give focus on it. Actually, when you thought that was a negative thing, actually it's quite positive. You can turn it negative into positive feeling to it. So kintsugi. So I brought it into my own art. I created a 3D scene and then print it out, but then torn it on purpose, and then mend it through a gold seal on paper. By tearing it, I feel I was basically releasing my own emotions. Then mending, if by doing this physical manual work, I felt like I was putting myself back into one piece, because my heart was kind of broken at that time, and so it's kind of meditative procedures I was going through by making this kintsugi art last year. Yeah, that was the Japanese art I brought into my own art. Was
That's
it a
really,
question?
I think you did, definitely. I knew about kintsugi. I believe I
Okay.
didn't know the words, but I knew this idea. In my culture, it was highly common to talk in a context that the imperfection makes
Yeah,
us
that's right.
more perfect, in a sense that there is no way to achieve the perfection, and that in Japanese culture, even the broken cup can be put together again, and it would make it more unique, or showcase that this cup had this experience that this cup went through.
Thank
So,
you very much. You explained it better than I did. I was like struggling, like, how can I say it?
no way, no way.
You put it together much better than I did. So thank you very much.
Oh, no. I think this concept resonated with me when I heard of it. And in any culture, I guess, there is this way to regain groundness and calmness through craftsmanship. In Ukraine, we have a really interesting thing that we have an Eastern axe, and we kind of paint them in a really weird way. We have a candle, and you put the wax that is melted on a candle heat, and then you paint the ornament and you put them into a water that can paint them, and then you do it again and again and again, and you go from lighter to darker colors. But the most interesting part of it is that in Ukraine, only mostly women should be doing it.
Oh,
And
really?
it's not the sexism, it's more in a sense that men are not able to create, not in a sense that they are not able to create something beautiful, but in a sense that they cannot they cannot showcase their emotions through craftsmanship.
Right.
So
Okay,
in
interesting.
Ukraine, all of these activities were preserved as women activities, and normally men were not be able to kind of take part in them, which is quite bizarre. As well as forecasting and all the superstitious things, they were separate. It's ancient traditions that Ukrainian women go together and they trying to fortune tell who their loved one will be and how their life will come out to be. And men again were not part of this activities, which is also
that's funny.
and we've been talking about this with my friend, and she said that it made sense. Back then it made a lot of sense, though currently of course everyone has their right and ability to to showcase themselves in any craftsmanship form. Well, anyway, let's dive into quantum consciousness.
That's funny. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
a super funny part of
I
it.
love that story. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will just give a quick preview. So I was working at one hackathon accelerator just recently, and Akane was one of the participants who created a project that is called Quantum Consciousness. It's a really interesting tool that integrates AI and empowers artists and also helps you relieve your emotions. So can you please tell us a little bit more about how it works? And if technology allows us to, we can even go through it, because Akane can share her screen and kind of guide us through the whole platform.
Yeah, well, I'll try my best. So quantum consciousness is like interactive system that listens, imagines, and responds. And it turns spoken prompt into visuals and conversations. And you can also manipulate it or interact with it with your hand gestures. So basically, I created this project using something called a touch designer, and then so you can give a verbal prompt to it, and then create image in real time, and then it also replies to your prompt. It gives but I can actually show you how it works. It's easier to see it rather than keep talking about it. So let me share it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. It doesn't share. Oh, okay. Screen. Okay. Screen share. Entire screen. Okay. And share. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Oh, hold on. Where's my screen? Is that this one? Can you see this one?
Yeah. All good.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Sorry. I think he starts talking already.
Oh.
Yeah. I think he started talking already, but
it's the reaction to what it currently is perceived as a voice, as an audio.
Yeah, so it's it's already hearing me. So let me give some prompt now. Okay, hold on.
Oh my god! Wow.
Shit. Oh. Quantum consciousness. No, it doesn't. Hold on. Yeah. Is he going to make art now?
And that was audio to
Okay.
text, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, okay, hold on. Here. Oh, it doesn't. This one. Hello. Can you hear me? Oh, this one broken. Oh, hold on. It doesn't. Yeah, but anyway, so at least the bit that's supposed to talk back to me is a bit broken at the moment for some reason. So I just request. Oh, okay. I
I
already.
wish I could help you, but to me it looks like a lot
Yeah.
of text
Okay.
stuff. I really don't get
Yeah.
it.
It doesn't talk to me back because uh, my credits already run out with
Mm.
this 11 lab, so it doesn't talk back to me anymore.
But I
But
guess
I
you
got
can just explain how it works in general. And
yeah.
also, the first question I have in my mind already is basically you are using orange.
Hmm.
And why is this color particularly? Or it is changeable? It
Yeah,
depends.
so the reason why it's orange is because okay, hold on. Let me explain how it's happening first. So like
Okay.
here you can see that audio is coming through it. That's why this audio is moving. And then which is this is something called a whisper that listens to you, your voice, and then turns into text. And then after that, it goes to ChatGPT to change your text into a dialogue. But this text, when it creates text here, which gets sent to something called the Confi UI, and then Confi UI gets the one that creates the art based on what you say. But the reason why it's orangish is because this is my own art, and I wanted to influence the art Confi UI creates based on my art, and that's why it's orangish. Um, but obviously you can change into something else if I choose another picture in here. So therefore that the art would look different from what you see here. But then after that, but then you can also make it bigger. Where is it? So there's lots of nodes because this is a node-based project, and then I can make it bigger. Let's see if it works. I don't know. Time leap. Does it make time leap? It doesn't. Sorry, I think it's better to show how it works over the video because at the moment, unfortunately, I finished
I
off
think
with
it. I think it gives an understanding,
yeah.
and
I did it.
it's extremely complex.
So
It is.
let me stop sharing it.
Yeah.
Stop
No,
sharing.
but
So yeah, unfortunately, that's the part that's supposed to be talking back to me didn't work because I was like trying to use it. I was using a lot yesterday, so I think I finished. I used up all this credits now. Um,
and in
right.
general, this is also a part of this quantum consciousness series.
Yeah.
Is these three artworks,
Yeah.
and I know that you are highly focused on time, like present, future, and past. Can you please explain why? And even in these three series, you have memory, nostalgia, and childhood. Can you just guide us through this theme and why you decided to go for it?
Yeah, so I have this interest in time and space um, theme, as you mentioned, because I want to believe that time is something that, I know, time is something that you can tap in out of the past present and future as you like. And it's true that you can tap into your past by remembering it, right? For example, you remember some sunny, nice day with your family, going out with your family, kind of thing. If you want, by remembering it, you can touch into the past, for example. And then, it's true, you cannot, physically go into the future right now. But then at the same time, I remember when I was 20, I opened up the world map and thinking which countries I wanted to travel to. And then, and then when I realized I have visited all those countries, in a way, you can say I envisioned the future at that point. So, and then, quantum consciousness speaks to me a lot, because quantum consciousness is basically, our consciousness is not fully, you cannot fully explain our consciousness by classical physics. And so therefore, quantum consciousness is where actually tries to explain our consciousness in a quantum sense, how we, how we basically see our world in a different way. So therefore, just like as I said, you can stay, you can appear in two places, for example, right? Like superposition. I don't know if you've heard of it, but superposition is something that you can appear in two places at the same time. But then in a way, it kind of relates to the theory of parallel world, for example, right? The result could be different depending on which parallel world you are in. For example, imagine you had a cat, lovely cat, you loved it, but the cat passed away in this world. In another world, in another theory, not theory, in another world, the cat is still alive and you're still playing with it, right? That kind of theory I'm very attached to. I want to believe that your future is something that you can imagine your future. I know you can make it realize by thinking about it, and the past memory as well. You can go back and revisit your past memory and then relive it. And that's why, as you showed my website earlier, the theme tended to be memory, this a quantum consciousness based on this memory kind of thing, because I don't want this our experience to be done and finished, and you cannot live it again. Interesting thing though, just maybe it's a little bit unrelated, but I don't know. Yesterday there was some football match, and you like football, right? I remember
my my partner does what I do. It's oversharing, but let me go for it.
Yeah.
I watch finals because my grandfather, he is not really talkative. He's more preserved in a sense. And
right.
in order to talk about something with him, I watch all the finals, the important matches, or
Okay.
either important for Europe or
Yeah.
important for Ukraine.
Yeah.
So I can call him and we have a topic to talk about.
Oh,
So
oh, that's
that's
nice.
my partner. He's all about football. So yeah, I actually didn't know there was some match yesterday.
Yeah, so like no, I don't watch football at all, but like my husband does. So then,
You
but
told me
anyway,
he's Spanish, so
yes,
I do believe he's a big fan.
yeah, he is. And then like yesterday, this guy called Luka Modric, a very
Okay.
famous football player from Real Madrid. I think he retired yesterday,
Oh,
and then
really?
he made this speech. Anyway, like I think because he was retiring, they were showing his achievements in the big monitor. And then anyway, so at the end of it, he said, "Oh, don't cry because it's over, but smile because it happened." I thought that was a nice way of looking at it because this is the end of his career and showing the past achievements. He's not going to be playing anymore. In a way, if you look at it in a sad way, you say, "Oh, like you cry. Oh no, he's not. It's over. He's not playing anymore." But then like a smile because it happened, right? That's what he said, and I thought that was a nice way of putting it in a very positive energy instead of missing it. He was happy that actually this achievement happened. So
That's a really beautiful vision of it.
I
And as
know.
you've been talking about this, I actually, even in my head, I have
Mhm.
this concept that is super close to me, is that I believe in Japan, it's something that Westerners are trying to pick up from Japanese culture. Even if you watch this Netflix series, Cleaning Up with Maria, I don't remember the surname, but the idea was that any object, I have a lipstick here,
Mhm.
has a soul. Well, this one is not because it's quite brand new, but or maybe it does because
Yeah.
I used it a lot and it has some soul for me. For instance, our interaction with me and lipstick. But
Mm.
I do believe that in Japan, you have this word, it's either Toro or Tori. This is the soul of any object that you interact with. Therefore, you're quite mindful about the interaction with it, and also in a sense that every person can be also relieved in an object that belonged to her. That's a really powerful concept. Can you just either admit this is the correct perception of it or not?
Yeah, I think so. You got it right. I think, and although I don't know this particular program, but yeah, I think you seem to know about Japan more than I do. Let's put it that way.
Well, to be fair, to be
Yeah.
honest, the first time I started hearing some things about Japan, I found it fascinating. I think the way that people are balancing their work life and their time off and the way they interact with each other is quite different, super unusual, but also in a sense that I felt a lot of kindness coming up from any philosophical beliefs that are common in Japan. So I enjoyed it a lot and I started researching. And I think like Hayao Miyazaki also impacted a lot of this because if you unwrap his cartoons, you kind of find a lot of deep philosophical Japanese concepts inside of it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's nice of you saying that because quite often I learn about my language, not language, my culture from people like yourself. Because I myself, didn't realize it, and then once I was talking with my French friend, who is a big fan of Ghibli's films, like Hayao Miyazaki's film, and then he said to me the reason why he likes his films is because there's no black and white. There's no like bad guy versus good guys kind of thing. Because as a human being, we have lots of these gray areas, right? And everyone has got nice part of them, but also a little bit of evilness, right? As well. So it's not, people are not two-dimensional basically, and we have a lot of different facets around us. So yeah, when he said that's the reason why he liked Japanese films, especially Ghibli's films, it was because of that. And I thought, oh, that's a nice way of looking at it as well. I did not know that. Well, again, So again, like you just explained, why you liked this, some aspects of Japanese culture, with this and that. And again, I'm learning a lot from you guys, and so thank you very much for saying nice things about Japan.
That's always cute. I do believe, because I'm a foreigner and even like I'm from another continent, that's why I view some things as unusual but also incredible, whereas for you they're quite common and normalized and you just don't notice them as I do, just because I've never saw them before. And to go to another question, I feel like we're getting so philosophical here, but let's dive into another exhibition of yours. It happens in London. It was titled as The Secret Sale, or not, it was...
There was, Hoxton, yes, yeah.
Okay, so The Secret Sale, and in general, the concept was that people didn't know the identity of the artist, and in general they were experiencing the art without it being connected to a personality. Can you just share in general how it was, how it felt, and maybe some insights from it?
Yeah. Well, at first I felt a bit awkward, and then so I just kept talking to the gallery owner. I didn't want to go close to them because you feel a little bit, I don't know, intimidating to go start talking to people who are looking at your art. So yeah, anyway, later on, the gallery owner told me to go and talk to them and show them this AR filters, because my art had this AR filters where you can interact with my physical art with AR filters through a mobile phone. Then so I went over them. They did not know he had that kind of function, so they were surprised that when I showed them this moving image over my physical art through my mobile phone. And then so eventually they knew I was an artist. But I still like the concept because, sometimes we see the name first and they start judging the work, before you actually really feel it. So, just hiding that information, I think, lets people connect with a piece more honest way. And luckily, they didn't say, "Oh, this is a rubbish art" or anything, right? When they did not know I was an artist. So, but yeah, but hiding this information sometimes it sharpens your senses and helps you feel it with your heart. Because I'm the kind of person who goes to an exhibition, reads every single thing instead of trying to use my own emotion to see whether I like it or not. So that's why I tend to think art with my head instead of feeling it with my heart. That's why sometimes it's nice to rob that information and you just look at it and just feel it, sometimes in my, What do you think?
I had several thoughts as you've been going. The first one, you shared that it is intimidating to kind of interact with the viewer who is viewing your artwork and doesn't know that you're the artist. And just recently, my friend, he lives in Madrid, he came to visit me.
Oh, nice.
And they were him and my partner, they were hanging out, and I just wanted to stay at home and have a normal rest. And so they come back in the middle of the night, and they are starting to show me some videos of what they've been doing.
Okay.
And my friend from Madrid is watching a video where he's doing something, and he goes like, "Fuck, I'm so ashamed." And on the video, in like 10 seconds, he says the exact same thing. "Fuck, I'm so ashamed." And I see this, and it's so bizarre because this pattern of being ashamed or intimidated or feel uncomfortable is quite, I would say it's super similar from person to person. We all have this like trigger that what makes us feel this way. And what I noticed as well is when I myself sense as a listener that somebody feels intimidated or uncomfortable, I immediately want the person to relax and not feel this way. And I believe it is the same for everyone. So if you're a public and you see that the speaker is anxious, you really are showing the signs of support, as if like you're nodding or you're like, yeah, go on. Like, so in general, I feel like the shame stays within yourself. Because I don't believe I was like shamed by somebody except myself, like, or intimidated. Intimidation comes within self. That's what I've been thinking about. And well,
that's so true.
It's so true, and I feel like it's so hard for artists because they are actually out there expressing themselves in various forms, like writing and painting and dance and all of it.
Yeah. Interestingly, because when I was little, I was in the kindergarten. Then we are making something with clay or something like that. And then another girl came over to mine. When another girl saw mine, she thought mine was really good, and she said, "Oh yeah, that looks really nice." And then she went over to the teacher and trying to bring the teacher to see my art, my clay. The stuff I created with the clay. But then when I saw her bringing the teacher, I got scared. Like the teacher might think this is a shit. So then I crushed it. And then so because I didn't want to show it to her because I didn't want to be judged. And she might think I know this is a shit. So then, when the girl brought the teacher, and then I just crushed it and then broke it, she cried because she genuinely thought it was nice, but like. I didn't want to show it to the teacher. But anyway, my point is that even now I feel this fear showing my art to the public. So I still, and every time I get the fear, I remember what I did back then. I question myself, why did I become an artist if I'm so scared of showing my art and share it in the public?
That's such an interesting story, and immediately, well, I have like two thoughts. We are like going freestyle, no questions.
Yeah, of course, exactly. We just go free.
So in my head, I have a similar defense mechanism.
Yeah.
How it works for me is that I objectively know that today I'm anxious. And what I would do, I would come into the room and I may not talk too well today because I'm anxious. And the reason I'm doing it is that I'm letting the world know so they don't tell me it, So I'm like the one already kind of letting them know my temperature so they don't have to tell me it. And I don't have to like go through this critique or feedback because I'm the one kind of already giving it to myself. This is the first thing. And another thing, so I was once invited to, it was a school event with kids, and they were doing an auction of art, and they were fundraising for some military aid or humanitarian aid, I don't remember. And so I was the only person kind of related to art space working in art. So I really wanted to purchase something. And I purchased a really beautiful artwork. It was a square abstraction with really bright pink on it and some like really deliberately made black oil, I don't know, brush strokes. And I loved it so much. I was actually fighting against somebody to get this exact piece. And I realized that I bought an artwork made by a girl, she's like 10 years old, that I knew. And her mom came on to me and she was like, have somebody ask you to buy it? I was like, no, I really loved it. I loved it so much. And the backstory of this girl, she was 10 and she wanted to make a beautiful piece. She was looking for the exact color. She had this idea in her head, all of it. And then she went to school and she saw that some girl made an incredible kitten, like really beautiful kitten. And she wanted to do an abstraction, which is like pink backgrounds and black brush strokes. And me as a person who works in art kind of has validated the abstraction more than the kitten. And but the girl, age of 10, decided that because somebody made a really realistic kitten, that her abstraction and her idea and her color choices, whatever it was, were not even worthy to be auctioned. She didn't even feel like showcasing this artwork.
But interestingly, that is something you were drawn into, right? After all.
Exactly. I saw like 50 artworks, and this is the one that resonated with me the most. And I do remember that I didn't have cash, so I asked around the family members if they would give me the cash because I really wanted this one. I really wanted it.
Interesting. Yes, it's very interesting what you showed interest, and actually you said another person also wanted to buy it as well, right? And it did attract, captures people's attention and I don't know, emotions that
In a
was
sense,
emitting
yes.
from this painting, maybe.
In a sense, yes, and also like people were fighting for something truly figurative, realistic. A woman, a cat, I don't know, a flower that is beautifully made, but then again, not to be judgmental, I do believe that finding another kitten is easy. Like I can find this artwork online, but somehow this abstraction had something to it that I really wanted to have at my home, at my place.
Oh, that's so nice. Such a beautiful story. Wow, it is, isn't it? Oh, nice. It's not like I vandalize my own art. It's gone, it's gone. But your one is beautiful. You actually bought it, and then that must have been a big encouragement for this girl. Who created it, and then I gave her this sense of not pride, but gave her some confidence, isn't it? Because people actually wanted it, right?
I do believe that's actually like a really interesting concept of getting the validation as an artist from the viewer, and it's a really tough thing. We can try to say that there are some artists that don't need this validation, but I don't think so. I do believe that if you're an artist, you are kind of curious to understand how viewers interact, how they feel about it. And even sometimes a lot of artists just decide not to title or not to explain the conception because they want to understand how the viewer would kind of envision it themselves and how they relive it.
Because it's really good. After all, if no one wants your art, no one buying your art, you start suffering from self-doubt, right? I thought it looked good, but if no one's buying it, maybe it's not it's not good enough, right? So yesterday I was reading this little article about Van Gogh. He himself, as you know, he hardly ever sold his paintings while he was alive, and he suffered from self-doubt as well. Which is a shame because his art is something I cannot buy. It's too expensive to buy. It is definitely a sensitive topic, about this artist about the art that they make. Sense of validation. You have to be strong to keep going when no one's buying your art, basically, isn't it? You have to have like self-belief. I can get through this in the end.
That's really interesting. With Van Gogh, I agree. I really love his art. I love his life story. It's quite complex, complicated.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Even I've been to Amsterdam in March, and I went to Van Gogh Museum, and basically, how is this called? So it's like what fabric is made of. It's like this, I don't know, stripes. He used them to understand the color combination because it's cheaper and they are reusable, whereas oil is just like oil painting was too expensive.
I did not know.
Yeah, so he was like quite powerful at also cutting his own costs because obviously he wasn't able to sell anything. And that's quite interesting. And I do believe a lot of artists at some point, or all of them, couldn't sell anything.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I've been to Van Gogh Museum as well with my dad, and then so when we got there, he specifically wanted to see this painting called Potato Eaters on the ground floor. And then so I said, okay, I left him there and I started looking at other things. As you know, it's like 4 stories. It's a big museum, right? 1 hour later, I went back, and my dad was still in front of this potato eater paintings, and then so I left him there, and then went to the other floor. Came back. This time he was sleeping on the. He was in the lobby sleeping on the not quite like a bench because he was from Japan, right? He flew from Japan because of the time lag. He was just sleeping there.
That's so funny.
And then, I know. And then I left him. Anyway, 3 hours later, he only saw one painting after all of that. Rest of the time, he was just sleeping there. And then I said to him, look, Van Gogh was famous for making some Japanese ukiyo-e kind of art as well, right? Did you see that? I asked my dad, did you see that? No. As a Japanese person, I think you should go see it. And then, so eventually, he just saw 2 paintings out of all of that. Wow, waste of time.
That's so funny. I remember I took my late grandfather to a museum in Frankfurt in Germany. And there was like a beautiful collection of impressionistic paintings. And we started with Degas with ballerinas and all of it. And I was explaining, he enjoyed like 2. He enjoyed Degas because ballerinas, it's like a beautiful movement. And then he enjoyed Renoir because women are put as, I don't know, they look like sweet, as if they're like, I don't know, as if they're a cake. They have this like really beautiful blush, and it's just a beautiful art. And he saw this, and then he was like, okay, I'm done. And I'm like, we have a lot of things we have to see, like why? And he was like, I'm going to the cafe. And he was sitting in the cafe all the time, like for 2 hours while I was in museum. And he comes back to me, and what he did, he bought a postcards for me with artworks on them. And I realized that he went for the art he enjoyed, and it was mostly realistic artworks. And this art didn't resonate with me at all, but I do believe this is the art that resonated with him the most. And it's a beautiful like seeing that depending on the generation and life background, which artwork you would go for. Yeah, really interesting.
True. Yeah. So, that's funny. Yeah. As you said, the taste differs from person to person, and what they have been looking at throughout their lives. I don't know what affects your taste in that sense, but one thing I just remembered is that sometimes it's well, no, it's not sometimes, probably a lot of the time. For example, in this case, you said that, you went to see Degas, right?
Yeah.
He painted lots of those ballerinas, didn't he? But then I think like later, I think I read it a few years ago that he was kind of accused of being
Yeah.
a child, like how do you call that?
Oh,
People who
really?
like child abuse kind of thing.
I think it was Paul again, or
Oh yeah,
so.
Haiti, isn't it? Yeah.
We spoke again. It was like some crazy story because he visited a lot of Asian countries as a part of his
Mm.
inspiration, and people went through his diary, and the girls he was interacting with were teens.
Yeah,
So,
14 years old or something,
but
right?
with the there is another scandal that he
Mm.
was really cruel with his
Ah,
belly
yeah.
dancer. That
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There is one painting where the belly dancer, it's either called like bathroom, bath washing, whatever. It's like a woman in
Mm-hmm.
position like this, lying on the
Mm.
floor with her back upwards.
Mm.
And so basically, he was accused of asking this person to stay in this position for 6 hours straight.
Wow.
So yeah, he's
Yeah.
not a kind human being.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Wow. So, what do you think about that kind of, if artists starts getting attracting and starts getting this accuse or claim, do you think that the value of the art is going to go down, or
Mm.
people don't care once, because it's already valued at a high price? You think it's not going to affect?
I think this provenance, like the provenance
Mm.
that is tied to cruelty, if even
Mm-hmm.
if you go back and look at, so basically during the Second World War, when artworks were taken from Jewish families, those
Mm-hmm.
artworks are not sellable within auction houses and other platforms
Mm-hmm.
because they are about the part of the history that people regret, that is
Mm.
painful. So I do believe it impacts, and I will jump from the topic to topic, but
Yeah.
I met a friend of friends,
Mm-hmm.
a guy works at Michelin restaurant as a chef, not like as a chef, but he cooks there anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he told us that the environment is really abusive and it's hard to work there, super
Mm.
stressful. And
Right.
then in like 2 hours, he told us that some Michelin restaurants can punch their workers and like physically abuse them. And
Wow.
my world basically crushed. I would never ever want to go to the restaurant and eat a dish that was prepared in cruelty. I don't want to eat the
Mm.
food that was made by somebody who just got kicked.
Yeah.
I don't resonate
Wow.
with it. And in a sense, I would say it's the same with art. I don't really want to have something at home that has
Mm.
this aggression tied to it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It does. It does. This is exactly what I was asking you. If people who know that this art is related to some cruelty against little girls, etc., do people still want to buy it? I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
true. I think
Mm.
no. I think no. I would say no.
Mm.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, but I was surprised that like chefs in Michelin hotels they're getting abused by
That's
by. Uh,
abuse for some stupid perfection of
mm,
how thin your cucumber is cut. Like I don't care. Like just give me the cucumber, like whatever. But still, it doesn't really matter. The food can
mm,
be tasty and not perfected, and that's weird. And
mm.
do you believe like even if you collect art, is it important for you to know the artist, the story of an artist at least, or something?
Yeah, that's a question to you, isn't it? Because you're the artist and you're the marketer of an art marketer. So therefore, like, what people are looking for when they are buying art.
Mm. Oh, wow. Well, yeah, most of the cases I want to know the person, but that's just me because I really love people. Like, I'm so curious about their life stories, what they're dealing with right now, and all of it. So for me, it is super important. But then again, with the things like secret auctions, I would rather go for something that just resonates with me. But to be fair, most of the time, if I look at an artwork and I like it, there is a big chance that I will also enjoy the artist's personality. So it's
Yeah,
like
just
always.
like the little girl, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So finally, I'll turn the table. I'll ask you a question because artists, they love to know, right? How they can sell art, for example. Nowadays, it's quite difficult because, well, not just now. It's always right, just like Van Gogh's time as well. But then, for example, online art, how do you gain trust almost to sell art online? Because to buy, you said you get attracted with when you get attracted with the art, you also tend to get attracted with the artists, themselves. But what I feel like, it's online. You've only seen them online. How do you create that bond or get trust from people you only know online?
That's interesting. I love this question a lot. There is this term. It's so Gen Z. It's my generation. It's
Yeah.
all about being like all of it. Yeah, all over the place. And there is this term as Gen Z marketing, but then also a part of it is vibe marketing, which is the sense that if we go to classic marketing structure, is that you are artist A who creates concepts like this and sells artworks like this. But if we go into vibe marketing, you are all of it, the artist, the concept, the artwork, the sale, but you are also the person who has a dog, who lives, I don't know, in, where do you live? Let's say you live in Copenhagen, and then you also swim every day in a cold ocean water, and you love dark coffee and all of this weird stuff that I shouldn't be knowing, but I kind of know about
Yeah.
artists who lives in
Right.
Copenhagen. And even I'm not an artist, but I do believe that the fact that I'm quite open about some parts of my life, it kind of simplified me and humanized me in front of the people
Okay.
that I'm working with.
Right.
So to me, this is quite important. And my decision making when I collected artwork was quite always about the real interaction. I saw art, I enjoyed it, and then I tended to connect with an artist before purchasing. I either attended their spaces to hear the person talking and explaining it, or I would just read an article and this person would be sharing something that resonated with me a lot.
Right.
Especially in Ukrainian reality, I collected an artwork. This was my first kind of like big artwork that I collected by Natasha Brichuk. And what I loved about her is that she was implementing Ukrainian identity in a really beautiful ways. She was using Ukrainian classic ornaments, and
Oh,
then
really?
she's
What's her name again?
I will
Can you?
send you. I will
Oh,
send
okay.
you
So
her
please,
IG.
yeah. Okay.
And I loved it a lot. And now she pivoted into drawing the people she sees in Ukraine every day. And it's always
Nice.
really interesting people. So so is this the correct word? The janitor is a person who works and cleans up the streets. So she started working with these people that are living their life in Ukraine, like people who are selling flowers and all of it. And I think it's a beautiful way to represent the culture itself, both
Yeah.
the identity of it and also the modern life. So long story short, I would say for me, the decision maker is the human part of artists and everybody.
authenticity, right?
Authenticity in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Sounds
about you,
beautiful.
actually? What about you? How have you been seeing it from artistic perspective?
Yeah, I think you're right. After all, I resonate with you too. After all, you get to know the artist before you purchase. Instead, because earlier, for example, NFT market, there's a lot of speculation going on, right? This is the reason why the price crashed, because they didn't have the uh, you know belief in those artists. They just wanted to chase, I guess, lots of those speculative buyers. They were only chasing the money side rather than they had belief in the art or artist. Um, but now, as you know, now that the market corrected itself, it's more like they do start. People do the reason why it still stays is I guess that's because people start buying NFTs or something that's because they were the fan of those artists, for example. So yeah, just like you said, it's important to before you buy it. It's important to know what you know what the ethos of the artist, or if you can resonate with it, or if you believe in the artist, and you know if you agree with what they are making. And after all, that's why secret art sale, right? You hide the information, follow your heart to buy it. No, just kidding. But yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Most of the time, most of what you said.
Actually, I also want to kind of dive into animation. Just right now, I had this thought that, well, Japan is quite well known for animation stuff, like animated stuff. I think like both Korea and Japan has like this strong background of animation history. And you are using animation, which like in my head is like, why? You can do statics. It just takes like less time. It's easier because I know that working with anything that is dynamic is like much, much harder. It just like a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of thoughts that are put into this work. So can you just explain how you work with animation, if it is tied to Japanese culture in general, and how AI also, what role AI plays in this process?
Yeah. Interestingly, I did not know why I liked motion graphics, but I think you're right. After all, I grew up watching lots of animes or manga, etc. So that's why naturally, I got interested in creating motion graphics, because I'm like a cat, right? And a cat likes moving stuff. When they see something moving, I react to it as well. Yeah, this is something I was talking about. So yeah, this is the AR filter. You can see it through the what you call that mobile phone. Yeah, thank you for putting all this information. Yes, that's right. But anyway, so my probably without not knowing, I was influenced by the Japanese culture, for one, and then my originally I was making motion graphics animations using 2D 3D software, but AI changed my way of working a lot, because before it took a long time creating all those. Now you are showing those scenes, right? You have to put them together, etc., etc. You have to learn the software. It was like a long procedures to make animation. um, and then I worked with this Italian girl. She's a singer, painter, and I created animation as her backdrop, while she was singing, and my animation was played behind her. Uh, the very first one I created was made using 3D software, but it took a longer time for rendering, etc. But then the second time I created using AI. I think Runaway and probably Luma Dream Machine as well, which helped me a lot because it was 30 minutes of animation. If I had to do it all in 3D, that would take me for a month. So, but I could quickly make it. I could make it in a month when I used the AI. So yeah, AI helped me a lot. I understand that there's a lot of people don't like it, because of I know people are saying like the copyright or issue or taking jobs away from people, etc., etc. But at the same time, it enables people to make something that they could not make before. For example, my content project, I couldn't make it before without the help of AI, for example. So for me at the moment, I'm appreciating it, and I think I see AI as like a collaborator rather than a tool.
That's a beautiful way to see it. Like this is my point of view as well. Even though I'm not an artist, so I don't face this risk of copyright infringement. But I do believe that AI empowers art in so many ways, and it's just like you have to have at least a small amount of common sense to understand when it's not, especially like the conflict with Miyazaki Studios and OpenAI. I mean, you clearly understand that generating something in a style of Ghibli Studios is copyright infringement. I mean, it's obviously like clear. So I guess that's the part of it. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, what are you working on right now? Upcoming projects, plans? Are you coming to Lisbon, by the way?
Yes! That's right.
Incredible.
Yes, I know. So yeah, my plans. So for this week, I have like 2 gigs coming up. One is with this group called Lola, a rising star indies band from the Netherlands, and then they're playing, and I'm creating the visuals for them. And then another one is I'm also collaborating with a talented musician from England called Jasper. We'll be playing in Ealing in London on the 1st of June. And then after that, I'm going to see you in person in Lisbon,
Again,
Andrei.
yes.
That would be great. Yeah, I'm already excited. My heart is already in Lisbon. Sunny day and beach.
It's going to be incredible. So because we would have our group, we would have Paul, we would have Jeanette. So it's like the best.
I know. And you're curating this art exhibition, right?
Yeah. So
Oh
one thing is that Jeanette is leaving on June 7th, so she won't be there, unfortunately. But
okay.
anyway, it's going to be a beautiful reunion.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I really don't want to end this one. It's
Sorry,
so
I
cute.
talk too much, don't I? Sorry, yeah.
No, I do believe it was like a chat. It felt like I met you in a bar or for a cup of coffee, and we were just talking. No structure coming from me as
I know. I'm sorry, because of me, isn't it? Like, nah.
No, it's
I don't follow the structure.
Let's talk questions. I forgot like all my questions. I have this stuff with all the questions I should have asked you, but
sorry.
it was what it was. Anyway, before we end this, I just wanted to remind the people that they can always find you. This is your nickname on Twitter, but then also Akane Hiraoka is how you
Yeah.
can find Akane, and
Yeah.
to showcase the website just in case. And you can always stay in touch. I think Akane does a lot of collaborational work, and
Yeah.
she's so extroverted and open to any cooperation. So please stay in touch with Akane.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
And I just want to thank you so much for your beautiful energy, kindness, empathy, and in general for your time. This chat, first time I was interviewed on a, in a place where I should be interviewing somebody.
Oh, funny. Yeah. Thank you for your time as well. You know, it was such a good chat, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
I enjoyed
incredible,
it.
like
Yeah.
super friendly. And yeah, Kani, thank you so much for inspiring me in so many ways. And yeah, I really appreciate you being a part of my career path and the friend group and all of it.
Yeah, such a good chat, Ari. Thank you very much again
Yeah,
for your
and
time.
so for the audience, you can reach out to me or the Omakase Show if you will be in Lisbon, and also you can meet me and Akane there. And we are all staying in touch, and see you all next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.